Hey guys, welcome back to 5nothing100nothing.com. I am Fugget, which stands for the fittest underdog guru using intelligent tactics. And today, guys, I want to talk to you about fashion or the way you dress. We talk a lot about fitness and getting your body in its best lean and strong looking shape. We talk about confidence, your attitude. We talk about all types of things pertaining to you being the awesome alpha male, undersized underdog that you were born to be. So talking about fashion, you guys, we're going to cover a bunch of different topics with that. And so let's just start from the head and work our way down. So with regards to shirts, your collar, you don't want to go with a collar or a V-neck or anything that's going to be too wide. What that's going to do is it's going to make you, your shoulders appear more narrow in comparison. The broadest of your shoulders appear more narrow to your neck. So you might look like you have a giant head, or you just look like your shoulders aren't broad enough when you do like a wide V-neck or open collar. Choose something that's a little tighter and a little more fitted to your neck, which is going to give you the illusion of broader shoulders. So don't go wide, don't use that wide V-neck. When you go with patterns, you want to go with a pattern that has a emphasis on vertical, so straight up and down. You don't want to go with wide, so you don't want stripes that are going to be going horizontally. You want them to go vertically. Another tip with that is you don't want it, the stripes or the patterns to be big. So it's just going to give you more that, again, vertical. And the smaller the patterns are, the smaller the stripes are, the bigger you're going to appear in a good way, the taller you're going to appear. So stay away from that. Nothing too broad there. When you go with pants, your pants, you want the, in particular at the waistline, you want it to be kind of a low-rise fit with the pants, meaning that it's going to be up to like your lower abdomen. You don't want a high-rise waist. You want to avoid trying to pull your pants up too high. That's going to make your torso appear shorter as well. So wearing your pants like that, choosing if you're wearing like more of a dress pant, something other than jeans or sweats, meaning so you want to go with something that's also a flat front. So if you're wearing like business casual or whatnot, stay away from pleats. Pleats tend to make the hips look wider, and when you have that flat front, it's going to keep you nice, lean, and narrow. So avoid the pleats at all costs. And if you have a crease in your pants, make sure that crease is right down the center of the front of the pants, so right in the front of your quadriceps. That line there gives that reinforcement of vertical appearance to your legs. So that's very important as well. Anything that will give the impression of length, adding to a vertical aesthetic appeal, is going to be good for you with pants. Shirts and jackets. You want everything with that to be fitted, but not too tight. So it should, in other words, fit appropriately. You'll see people wear things that are really baggy, and it makes you appear wider than what you are. So I know with certain trends and fashions that come and go, you'll see like baggier t-shirts, whatnot. And then, if you have a baggy t-shirt on and it's like past your butt or halfway down your butt, it's just going to make it look like you put on, you're a little kid and you put on your dad's shirt. It's not a good look for you if you're looking to maximize aesthetic appeal and look taller. So stay away from that with the shirts, you guys. With dress shirts, that one you want to have, for instance, with the cuff or the sleeve length. You don't want to choose a dress shirt or a long shirt where you're going to have a lot of wrist showing, and you also don't want it too long on your hand. Again, looking or giving the appearance that you've got somebody's shirt on or it was a hand-me-down. You don't want that. You want a properly fitted shirt. So with the length of the sleeve, you want that to fall somewhere between your wrist and the palm of your hand. And you want it also, if it has a button on it or a cuff, you want to be able to slide, once it's buttoned, 2 fingers in. And if you can get 2 fingers in there, a nice snug fit there, then that is the proper width around the wrist that you want. You don't want it to be too baggy. You don't want it any tighter than that. If you could take a dress shirt, you guys, and it's buttoned at the cuff, and you could slide your hand into it, that cuff is too big for you. So you don't want to be able to get your hand into that sleeve without unbuttoning it. So you should be able to button it, and then 2 fingers sliding in is a safe bet for that. So just brushing the base of your palm. You should, with the dress shirts, again, going with the vertical patterns, you don't want them to be too wide for previously mentioned reasons. And when it comes to colors, you know, dark colors are always slimming. Now, I know some of you, I tend to be a darker complexion. I can pull off like a darker flat front pant and maybe like a pink or an orange polo. It just depends on your skin tone. So if you are more fair complected, you know, you already know this, that a pink, a yellow, an orange, those types of brighter colors are not going to look good on you. And even if they do look good on you, just be careful of how they look. Are they still slimming or making you appear lean? Or are they like too loud? And that can also make you kind of go, make you look wider. So be careful with color choices. Again, the best is to go with a darker color, and that always makes you appear to be long and lean, which is what we want aesthetically. With accessories, so talking about watches, ties, even belts, you know, if you have a belt, you don't want necessarily a big, thick belt that has like a big belt buckle or anything like that. So it's just, again, going to, compared to the size of that belt, make you appear smaller. So you want something that's going to be appropriately sized and even a little bit on the smaller side. With wrists, if you watches rather, if you've got a watch on and it's a big gaudy watch, like for instance the Apple watches, they've got the bigger, I think it's 42 millimeter face, and they have the smaller 38. I recently bought my son, who's 11, an Apple Watch for Christmas, and first he wanted the bigger display so he could see it, but then when we were at the Apple store trying them on, the 38 looked better, the 38 millimeter size. Forgive me if I've been getting the sizes incorrect, but I think that's what it is. That appeared better on his wrist. It didn't look too big, didn't make his arm look small, didn't make his wrist look too small. So if you're smaller boned, like I am, you want to go with something smaller on the wrist, and it just looks more appropriate and proportionately doesn't throw you off. Ties are a tricky one. Generally ties, you don't want to go with like a double Windsor, really big fat knot, for the same reasons that you don't want to go with patterns or stripes that are going to be too big as well. Now, the only exception is if you're wearing like a skinny tie and you're a heavier guy. A skinny tie can really make you appear wider, because proportionately to your torso, it's going to look a lot smaller than it will on a slimmer guy. So if you're a bigger guy and got a lot in the middle, or just thicker and broad, and you want to appear taller, you want to go with maybe a little bigger tie, so it's proportionate to really your torso width and the space you're taking up there. So always go with smaller to be safe. Once you put things on and you're in the dressing room or whatnot, you're going to get a better feel for how it looks. And like with everything else, you guys, you want to have the confidence in what you're wearing. So, you know, I've talked about this before, where you watch like these fashion makeover shows and you see, and it's funny because, I don't know, I kind of go with my eye and like my gut on things like this, but I'll see people on these shows and they have a certain look to them. They just dress a certain way. And, you know, for some of them, and what I've noticed watching these shows here and there, is that about half of them kind of own their style. They own the way it looks, you know, and they seem confident with it. It's just their identity. It's them as a person. And then you get the, you know, the fashion expert that comes in and maybe goes by the book and does everything, you know, according to the rules and this and that. And then they, you know, the great reveal, come on out. And they come out and the hair's different. their style is maybe more trendy or current, but the look on their face, their attitude, their swag is gone. And you can just see it's not them. And they're putting on the polite face and smile and, oh, yeah, I like it. And, sometimes they just totally go, wow, I would never do this. And, but most of the time people are going to be polite and they're a little shy to express how they feel because they're in front of the experts and maybe there's an intimidation factor and maybe they're camera shy. But, there are all of these tactics and that are really good foundational basics to start with when you're looking to overhaul your style and swag and whatnot. But at the end of the day, I always say this, guys, you got to own it. So, you see some Hollywood celebs that just go right off of, they break from the trends and the beaten path and do something crazy. I have a buddy in professional wrestling, Brian Pillman Jr., and this guy is a second-generation wrestler, entertainer, and he decided to go completely counterculture. Back in the day, people used to wear the hip fanny packs and whatnot, and it became like, kind of lame to wear those after a while. But in the 80s and 90s, professional wrestlers used to wear those around, and it was more culturally acceptable and trendy. And also the mullet, so shaving the sides, long hair, so business in the front, party in the back. He brought that back. And, this guy's in his early 20s, so it's funny to see a young guy that has a mullet and a fanny pack, but he wears it with such confidence, and it's so absurd that it just works for him. And you see that in all different parts of entertainment in Hollywood, where sometimes somebody's just got so much swag that it doesn't matter what they wear, they're going to make it work. So there are a few of you that are undersized underdogs, the vertically challenged, that can pull off that kind of stuff, wear the broad, big, wide stripes or bright colors and just break all the fashion rules, but they wear it with so much confidence. But, those types of guys probably aren't the ones watching this content or listening to this content because they own whatever they do and they just don't give a shit. That speaks to their confidence and their self-esteem and self-awareness. But if you've got those issues and you're trying to really maximize your look, whether professionally, personally, in your social settings, these are good foundational basic rules. There's a lot more, but I think that just mastering these alone will totally drive your A game up. And so I encourage you to try these. Go through your closets, go through your dressers, and go through your stuff and see what's working for me now, what's not working for me anymore. Sometimes a whole wardrobe overhaul can be quite expensive. If you have somebody in your family that's like a good seamstress or good with hems and good with things like that, alterations, go ahead and use them and take advantage of their talents to kind of alter your wardrobe or new clothes that you've bought. Personal note, over the years, I've had a lot of success when shopping for new clothes at Banana Republic. Banana Republic tends to cater to more of a European look or a shorter man in mind, and I've always found that their clothes were very fitted, very slimming, and definitely gave an aesthetic appeal of length or more slimming and tall look. So looking at places like that, you've got to just shop around. There's so much out there now, you guys. I always encourage those, whether it's shoes or clothes. That's a real tough one to do with e-commerce or shopping online because you really don't know until you try something on. Going in a fitting room and spending the time to make sure that it fits right. When you try to do your own measurements, if you're going to go to a tailor or if you're going to have someone alter it, it's always best to have a pro do it. They really know the ins and outs and all the things that you probably don't have time to research yourself. And it's better, especially with clothes. What do they say? The old saying, measure twice, cut once. Well, if you measured wrong and you cut, it's over. The clothes are ruined, and there's usually very little you can do with that to fix it. So I encourage you guys to, check out these tips, see which ones, which fashion no-nos, in a sense, you're violating, and make it better, make it happen. And sometimes, the old saying, the clothes make the man. So if you are dressed well and you feel confident with the way you look, it's going to impact other areas. You're going to feel and act and carry yourself with more confidence because you know you look good, and it'll make you feel good. So it's a cycle, it's a circle, it's a domino effect. Take advantage of it, you guys. I encourage you, ask questions, subscribe, like, follow, whatever you guys need. Let's make this thing happen. And you guys have a great day. I'll talk to you again soon.